Hello there and welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about the books that I plan to read in February. Now, I'm going to be including a couple of books that I've already mentioned that I wanted to read, but only briefly. Basically, this is just a roundup of the books I'm going to be reading in February, so you get the kind of idea of the sort of mixture that I want to get through. And then at the end of February, I will do a reading roundup to see if I have read all of them or not. So, I'll get started with the ebooks as usual. I'll always start with the ebooks and they will always be in the thumbnail because I can't do the fancy editing. This month I have only 4 ebooks that I am currently wanting to read, and the first of those I'm reading already, and that's Trisha Sullivan's Occupy Me. I'm about 36% through and I'm really enjoying that at the moment. The next book that I have to read is Berit Ellingson's Not Dark Yet, which is kind of a cli-fi as far as I'm aware, set in an alternate universe and sort of about ghosts and climate change and all that kind of stuff. I've heard many good things about Berit Ellingson, so I'm very much looking forward to reading this book. The next book is Magical Realism Set in Modern Times. Now, you know how much I loved Silvia Moreno Garcia's Hypnotonoise, so I was very excited last year to learn that there's a book by a guy called Scott Adlerberg called Jungle Horses, which starts out looking like sort of a story about a guy with gambling problems in the East End of London and ends up being some sort of really surreal magical realism / Jamaican secret forest type thing. So I was just like, I am all over that, and it's been waiting in my Kindle app for ages and ages and ages, and this month I am reading it. That is it. I'm done. I want to read it. The last book is another one that's been on my Kindle app for ages, and I've wanted to read it and haven't got round to it, and that's Crashing Heaven by Al Robertson. It's just totally kind of cyberpunky type pulpy science fiction thing, and yeah, must have it in my eyeballs, so that's going in them this month no matter what. End of, because it's been waiting for me to read it for far too long. So that's all the ebooks that I want to read. I may well add more. I read a couple more ebooks at the end of January that I might do a mini review of, because I didn't include them in my January roundup because I kind of read them the weekend after I filmed it, but yeah. Anyway, on to the physical books that I will be reading this month. Naturally, you all know that I'm really wanting to read more short stories, so this month I am reading the Amelia Gray. I'm going to be reading Gutshot. I've already read the first story and it was amazing and I loved it, and I'm really looking forward to reading the rest, but it's been waiting on my desk for me to do this video because I'm an idiot. I just put it on the desk and then every night I'm like, oh, I can't be bothered to go and get it because I'm that lazy. So I've been reading other things instead, including Occupy Me, but I will get to this afterwards. Definitely. You wait and see. That's that one. The next book was kind of inspired by this current trend. There just seems to be a load of books with the girl in the title. I've read like 3 of them. I've read The Girl in the Red Coat, The Girl on the Train, and The Girl with All the Gifts. But I remembered that there was another book with the girl in the title, and I'm like, but there can't be, because I'm not really interested in any of the other The Girl books because it's getting a bit dull now. But I had a look in my bookshelf because it just wouldn't stop nagging at me, and I found this. Sebastian Faulk's The Girl at the Lion d'Or. And of course this was published in 1989, so it predates the current The Girl trend by quite a long time. And it's kind of a historical book and a love story and book about conscience, you know, literary. And I bought it in a charity shop, and I remember reading the first chapter in the blurb, which is what I always do to decide if I want to buy something, and it just completely gripped me. And so I read it again when I found it in my bookshelf, like the first chapter, just a bit of it, and I was like, yes, I have to read this because it looks super interesting. So that's on my to-read list as well this month. Simple as that. Next is one of the books that I had in my Christmas haul, Spill, Simmer, Falter, Wither, which is a real tongue twister. I'm gonna get round to reading this because I've read the other ones, but I haven't got round to this yet, and I really would like to, so I'm going to. The next book I'm going to be reading is one I've had for ages and that I've heard so much about, and it's a charity shop book, so you will have to forgive its less than perfect presentation. It is loved and old and cherished. That is, of course, Dorothy L. Sayers' Gaudy Night. This is a Lord Peter Wimsey mystery. Now, I just, you know, I love detective books, and I love books that are sort of detectives who don't otherwise detect, like Agatha Christie and Poirot and stuff. And I know a load of people who swear by its brilliance, so I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna read that, and then it's just been in my shelf, so I'm reading it now. Not right now, but this month. Yeah, that's that. And finally, well, not finally, because of course I've got the Mieville coming, which I've heard some bad stuff about, so I'm kind of like, oh no, right now. But I will give it a fair chance. I will give it a fair read. I always do. But finally, this went in my shelf because it was on my floor. But as you can see, a certain feline companion decided to stretch their claws all over it. So it had to go in the shelf for its own protection. And it now has been retrieved from the shelf and will be read, hopefully before another cat decides to stretch all over it with their claws out, which we both know they don't need to do. You see a cat doing that, you look at the cat, it looks back at you, it's like, yeah, I'm just doing this because I want to wreck your books. I'm like, yeah, you look like a really good handbag in cat form. You do. Yeah. But they don't take me seriously because they know I totally wouldn't. Honestly. Anyway, those are the books that I intend to read in February. Whether I get round to all of them or whether I end up veering massively off track and reading a load of other different stuff as well remains to be seen. This is a leap year, so I have one whole day extra in February. It's like a whole 24 hours. What do you do with it? Read 1,000,000 books, basically. That is my plan. So yeah, thank you for watching today. Bye bye.